Hello YouTube, what is going on? This is Epic Big Bird and I am finally back with some more Rome 2 Total War commentary for you guys. It's been a couple busy weeks lately. I've been staying really busy with some tournament action that I've been doing with Imperator. We've gotten ourselves into a little bit of a 2v2 online multiplayer tournament. It's a 32-man tournament, 16 teams. So yeah, we will be bringing you footage of that soon. I'm really excited about it, but that's the reason why there's been a little bit of a lull in videos lately. We've been really busy with the 2v2 practicing and working out our tactics. But I finally was able to play some 1v1s lately, and I got some pretty good battle footage here, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and go into slow motion real quick. I'm going to go over unit compositions because this battle, although it's 10 minutes long, this beginning part gets a little intense. So for my Pontus build here today, I have 6 noble blood on my flank. I have 2 mercenary Scythian horse archers backing them up. I have 4 eastern archers on my front line. I have 3 levy pikes on my left center. I have 4 Pontic swords on my right center, and I have a Pontic royal cav as my general over here. Now my opponent today, who's chosen Carthage, has brought in 1 African war elephant general. He has 3 Cretan archers to protect them. He has 3 African pikes on his front. He has 4 Libyan infantry flanking them. He has 2 Carthaginian cav, and he also has 2 noble cav. So this is a 10-minute long video, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put it into fast forward. We can watch the opening volleys of this fight begin. You can see I'm mobilizing my cav to the left, and what I'm going to try to do right now is you can see that Carthage has split off one of his Cretans. He tends to counter my Scythian horse archers with them, and I am okay with this at the time being. What I'm going to try and do is come forward with my eastern archers and skirmish with his Cretans, and then I'm also going to try and skirmish with my mercenary Scythian horse archers. I feel that in a 2-on-1 situation, my eastern archers might be able to make themselves worth it. I'm going to go ahead and go into play motion here, guys, but you can see here we're focus firing this Cretan archer in the middle. He's down 20 men, whereas he's already routed one of my eastern archers. My Scythian horse archers are taking heavy losses and have only killed 3. Here, I go ahead and commit to try and pin his noble blood cav, and I was actually trying to mobilize this cavalry through the gap and behind his lines, but you see they get caught on this engagement, and his noble blood cav was coming to reinforce to pin my cav down, so I'm going to have to commit them to this fight as well. At the same time, you can see my archers are beginning to fall back. My Scythian horse archers have been destroyed, and I can see that this engagement is just not going the way I want, so I'm going to have to retreat and regroup here. So, the Cretans won the archer fight because they have a higher rate of armor, and they come with quick reload. That's going to make them very dangerous to any kind of low armor unit. My eastern archers, although they come with precision shot, which bumps their archer attack up to 34, I believe, the mercenary Cretan archers, once precision shot is engaged, I do believe reach either 8 or 10 shots per minute, while my eastern archers will be stuck at 6. So really, my eastern archers never had a prayer. I should have been thinking more about that, but that's okay. So I'm going to pull back my eastern archers, save them, because I'm going to need skirmishing capability to deal with my opponent's elephants. So you can see here, my opponent's cav is going to get aggressive. I need to be able to pin most of his cavalry with 1 unit, so you can see here what I'm doing, spreading out my noble bloods. They're going to eat the charge of this noble cav, and you can see that works fairly well, but to ensure that the fight lasts long enough for me to deal some damage back to my Carthaginian opponent, I'm going to have to commit the rest of most of my noble blood cav force to this fight, while this one set of noble bloods gets to slip behind the lines unopposed. You can see my opponent's elephants are now in the backfield of my noble blood cav. This is not good. However, we do manage to get into some of his Cretans here. in somewhat of a dangerous position with my noble bloods, but we're going to be able to pull out and do a lot of damage against my opponent's Cretans here. Now you can see my archers over here, my surviving archers. I have 2 sets which are at pretty full strength, are coming to try and get some pop shots on these African war elephants, which are now harassing my back line. And it's pretty obvious that at this stage my noble blood force will not last much longer. Over here you can see we are getting success against his Cretans though, and I have to say it's very important that we kill his Cretans, because since our own archers are inferior, what Carthage can do is essentially shoot down my own eastern archers, and then we will have no way to stop his elephants. So you can see that I'm shifting my whole entire infantry corps. My noble bloods are about to break, and I need to ensure that my archers do not get charged after this infantry fight is over with. You can see here I actually swung my Pontic Royal Cav all the way along the front of my opponent's line to get at this last set of Cretan archers. And here my noble blood Cav are fighting valiantly to end the last bit of Cretan archers. Here you can see my opponent, after mopping up my noble bloods, comes to reinforce his infantry corps. And sorry about that, guys. And he's going to do that, effectively wiping out the last of my Cav. So now all I have left are my 3 sets of levy pikes. I have 2 sets of eastern archers, 4 sets of my Pontic swords, and my Pontic Royal Cav. My opponent has all of his infantry corps. He has a battered cavalry force, noble blood Cav with 5 horses down, and a Carthaginian Cav with 13 units left, as well as an African war elephant that is still quite healthy. However, I'm keeping my archers trained on it now, trying to get shots on it whenever it's in range. But you can see me here again regrouping, and my opponent's going to go ahead and go on the offensive. Sorry about that, guys. Here I go ahead and get into phalanx. I think I'm going to get an easy charge here, but my opponent stopped short. So here I can see he's planning to wrap around my right flank. So I'm going to go ahead and mobilize my levy pikes to the right, switch my Pontic swordsmen to the left. Libyan infantry and Pontic swords are basically on par. Libyan infantry will probably beat the Pontic swords, but it's an engagement I'm going to have to be okay with accepting at this point. I can't beat his levy pikes or his African pikes with my Pontic swords. It would take some incredible micro skills to get around his pikes and make sure I get into favorable engagements with my Pontic swords. So I'm feeling more comfortable with using my Pontic swords on his Libyans to get flank attacks on them, and so I will be able to more easily wrap up his swords and then deal with his less offensive African pikes later on in the battle. You can see here though he does decide to accept engagements with most of my pikes. Here he's trying to push an African pikeman on my Pontic Royal Cav. I'm going to retreat. The only problem is this is causing my a break to be in my lines, and you can see he's trying to exploit that. My eastern archers here got a little isolated away from the protection of my army, and here I almost get them routed because they were attacking these African war elephants. But I do manage to screen them back. Now I'm going to swing my Pontic swords on the flank here, hopefully pin his Libyan infantry on one of my pikes, and then flank with my Libyan swords. Here, I'm committing a Pontic sword to hold these Libyan infantry from getting to my back lines. I should have taken a charge here, but I didn't. I see a hole here. I'm going to try and shoot my general around and through this gap to land a hammer and anvil strike, but I think better of it when I see his own elephants coming. So I'm going to charge back into this engagement. Now you can see my opponent's noble Cav reads this hole very well, and he's going to shoot the hole and slam into the back of my Pontic Royal Cav. Over here, my left is crumbling. My levy pikes are unable to hold. Here, his African war elephants are now finally aggroed in the fight, and they're also taking quite a lot of damage. So here you can see we managed to start bringing them down even with flaming shot. He's got 2 elephants left, so next volley they should be dealt with. And over here my general is now pinned in quite an unfavorable fight against noble blood Cav and Libyan infantry. He's got a Pontic sword unit at his back protecting him, but he's currently outmatched. However, once you can see my opponent's elephants go down, we're going to be able to wrap up this engagement over here on the right. This is forcing my opponent to commit another set of African pikes to this engagement while he's trying to tie down my general. I popped rally here as to increase my morale in this engagement, but you can see here my general is going down. change my archer fire onto these African pikes after I managed to rout my opponent's noble cav. And now you can see here I'm becoming quite successful over here on my right flank. I'm pulling a Pontic sword over here to shield against my archers so they can continue to fire into these pikemen, while my other Pontic swordsmen get into the rear of these African pikes. Here you can see my opponent's trying to reinforce the fight with his Libyan infantry. I'm going to bypass his pikes and get into the flank of these Libyan infantry to prevent them from flanking my Pontic swords. And you can see that works pretty well. I use the whip, and there my opponents start to waver. They start to lose their morale, and there we get the chain rout. So that was a very close and very exciting battle, guys, if I do say so myself. Great strategy on both ends of the fight, I feel like. The skirmishing initially did not go my way. I ended up squandering 2 of my noble blood calves in the beginning of the fight, and I had to cut my losses and go into damage control, which when I did that, it actually took away my skirmishing a bit, or my mobility edge, and actually put it more in favor of my opponent, I would have to say. 4 noble bloods should still be enough to handle 2 Carthaginian cav and 2 noble cav, but as opposed to 6 noble bloods, it really was not a very cost-effective exchange there in the beginning of the fight. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I really posted it to try and highlight some skirmishing tactics along with some cavalry tactics. You can see how I pinned his cavalry with 3 of my own noble bloods, and then went for his archers with this unit, I believe. And you can see that worked really well. And that was really crucial, because if I didn't, like I said in the video, didn't get rid of his Cretan archers, they would have had an easy time mopping up my own Eastern archers. And if that would have happened, I would have had no answer for his African war elephants, and his African war elephants would have stomped all over my infantry. So you guys can really see that that was really, I would say, the decisive moment in the battle. Not to say that it was still up in the air during the infantry engagement. Kudos to my opponent. That was some very intense microing of his infantry there, and it almost worked for him. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed the action. This has been Epic Big Bird, signing off.